WoW's future. How much longer can this MMO last? That's a very good question. Let's have a look at this and talk about it.
How much longer does World of Warcraft have before it fades away into obscurity and is no longer considered the king of MMOs? I know that some people would say that WoW is no longer the king of MMOs, but the game is still going very, very strong and is still very much alive despite controversy, despite bad expansions.
Thanks to Dragonflight.
Just when is this game going to die? Now, Dragonflight, WoW's current expansion, it has been relatively successful so far in terms of player feedback and appreciation, but there's a big but. Sales for this expansion have been low, and people are certainly less interested in Blizzard Entertainment as a company.
That's also because of their reputation, you could say, and because we no longer have the quarantine situation, right? Like, people are going out more than they used to. They're no more stuck in the house as much. So, of course, like, all MMOs suffer a bit from that as well. But the reputation is also what matters. And unfortunately, Blizzard's reputation has not been too great recently, right? So some people, they lost trust in their products and in World of Warcraft itself as well. So some people didn't want to give it a try. If they would have given it a try, a high percentage would probably have stayed around. They would have seen, oh, this is so much better than Shadowlands. Like, that's my personal opinion from playing both expansions. My personal opinion is Dragonflight is way better than Shadowlands, and that's also a story I can understand, and I love the zones and what's going on there. Also, when it comes to gearing and stuff, I'm actually glad we don't have to grind renown for like power in M+ runs and stuff. It's good. Like, they made stuff more of a free choice, less of a chore.
For this expansion have been low,
it's very good.
And people are certainly less interested in Blizzard Entertainment as a company. So today, I want to talk about this issue. I want to talk about how much longer can we expect this game to be around. I want to offer my opinions as well as those of you guys, the community, on this topic. So let's get started by rewinding the clock, shall we? Let's talk about World of Warcraft when it first came out in 2004. When WoW came out, it was a massive success. It led to massive growth, and it was a huge boom for Blizzard Entertainment. You could only imagine what it must have been like behind the scenes. And as the game continued on, later expansions like Burning Crusade only helped to grow the game more. But after Wrath of the Lich King, World of Warcraft did take a massive hit in terms of its popularity.
There's actually a hidden factor that a lot of people don't talk about and mention, so I'm going to be the one, maybe not the first one, but one of the few ones that are actually going to mention this. There used to be mouth-to-mouth advertisement, right, back in the day. So if your working colleagues, your college classmates, they got the game, they would tell you how great and fun it was, and you would buy the game too. And what would happen? You'd actually play with the people you know in real life and stuff. Like, I often encountered groups of friends that actually know each other in real life, and I joined them, and sometimes some of my friends also played the game, so I would run into them in-game and stuff. But unfortunately, the years came by and a lot of my friends moved away. They got like jobs in different cities, some got married and stuff. So those people I used to play with video games, they no longer live here. I'm all by myself now almost. I mean, I still have some friends here, but not as many anymore. And yeah, it was basically like communities in real life talking about the game, advertising it to each other, and then forming very strong bonds and communities of friends that will log in to play with their friends. And this is what was so beautiful about like MMOs and the MMO experience. Like, World of Warcraft was actually my first MMO I ever played, and I loved it. This was the first time I enter an online world and I meet people from real life in an online digital world. And I can like freaking talk to them and stuff there and do quests, dungeons, PvP. It was such a fun experience, and it was like something new on the market because there were so many other types of games, and MMOs were not so popular back then, right? And because this came from Warcraft 3, and Warcraft 3 was super popular because strategy games used to be a big thing. I mean, just look at freaking StarCraft 1, like old school StarCraft, how big this was. Same with like Warcraft 2 and 3. Like, a lot of people were also curious. They wanted to see, wait a second, Warcraft 3 as an MMO, you can have like one single character. You're no longer building structures and units. You're actually one guy that's like running around doing quests, killing stuff. Yo, let me try that actually. I feel like a lot of people also thought that they were really into Warcraft 3. And they got curious and they got stuck then because they enjoyed it.
It started in like a little bit of a downward trend. And the game since then has been going through a series of ups and downs, with some expansions bringing in larger number of players, like World of Warcraft Legion, whereas other expansions have only further harmed the game in the long run,
I think
like
this
the
was
recent
the latest
Shadowlands
good
expansion. Now, nowadays, many veteran players, they've left World of Warcraft for other games like Final Fantasy,
but they're coming
maybe
back
Ashes of Creation in the future, or maybe these people have just left gaming behind altogether. But despite the veteran players leaving the game, Blizzard has made little effort to make the game more appealing for newer players who might be curious about Azeroth. Blizzard has even refused to create a Warcraft 4 sequel to the extremely popular RTS Warcraft 3 due to the RTS scene
very
not
important,
being
guys.
as popular
I'm sorry, I have to quickly interrupt this. Very, very important. I had a discussion with someone on Discord the other day, and this is something that's been on my mind for a long, long time. If Blizzard ever wants to make a World of Warcraft 2, I think it would be strange if they do it based off the current World of Warcraft we have. Like, my best advice for Blizzard, so Blizzard, if you're watching this, please listen closely to my words. Make a Warcraft 4 that takes place 50 or 40 years after current World of Warcraft. And like Anduin is like super old, most of the people that were around died and stuff. Like, have most of the characters that are now in-game disappear. They die because of old age or whatever, like 40 years or such pass, or 50 years. And what you can do with the allied races, you can make them become a big part of World of Warcraft 2 as base races. And how can they be this? Like the Mecha Orcs, for example, they were brought over from an alternate dimension, and they are low in numbers because they were taken spontaneously. I think lore-wise they could just be a few hundreds at most. Because we literally, okay, I don't want to spoil it too much, but you literally just take a handful of them to our world, to Azeroth, basically, right? So they repopulate in 40, 50 years. They all have like offspring, this and that. Some already become grandparents and stuff. So we have like a higher population of Mecha Orcs. Same with the Vulpera. They move over to, let's say, Kalimdor somewhere. They spread, they multiply, all that. Like, have some of the allied races become a bigger part. Or maybe the Mechanomes build some interesting high technology cities in some zones somewhere, maybe, right? Like, and then you in Warcraft 4, you have like new characters, everything, but it also takes place on Azeroth. You have like new units, maybe some are from allied races. Then maybe there's like a new conflict between the Alliance and Horde. Maybe there was peace for 30, 40 years, then something happened. Maybe the old leaders no longer around, the new leaders have a different view on things. And then you have like a whole new plot with Warcraft 4, and out of this, some years later, with modern technologies, you can make a WoW 2. I think this is the best course of action for Blizzard. Do a large time skip, at least 40, 50 years, in connection with Warcraft 4, and this will be World of Warcraft 2.
Once was due to, well, several reasons. Maybe just the dwindled intellect of gamers.
It would be an independent plot.
I don't know. But that's the past, and now let's talk about the current state of WoW. So Dragonflight, as I mentioned, is the current expansion, and it is coming off the failures of Shadowlands. And despite a lot of low hopes for Dragonflight in terms of content and gameplay, expansion, again, it's been well received. I've talked about that in previous videos, we don't need to talk about that anymore. However, the damage done by Blizzard's blunders over the years has certainly affected the game negatively, leading to the poor sales on Dragonflight's part. Now, to be fair, we don't have any official numbers from Blizzard, but the company offering 30 days of free game time with the purchase of the expansion, as well as lower boss kill data and a lower presence of the game over on Twitch, this could suggest that the expansion isn't making as many sales when compared to World of Warcraft's previous titles. The point is, even if the game is decent right now, even if it's good or great, players just aren't too keen on supporting Blizzard these days or giving them a chance.
Yeah,
and hey, I get
bad
it.
reputation.
I completely understand. You know how many negative videos I've had to make on this game over the years? It's been ridiculous. So finally being able to make some relatively positive content, it's nice. But let's talk about the future now. Let's talk about these future expansions, the whole point of this video. So what does all this mean for the future of World of Warcraft? Well, Blizzard, first of all, I think they need to do the following if they want to really turn their game around and be able to pump out the next several expansions, or however many expansions are going to come out, and then be received well, sell well, and get a lot of good community feedback. The first thing, Blizzard needs to keep innovating and offering high-quality gameplay like they have done with Dragonflight.
Yeah,
it is a
doing
solid
this,
expansion, but this expansion is not going to turn WoW into some mega giant like it used to be. No way. It's going to take some time. And that leads to point number 2.
Yeah.
Blizzard really needs to push to make the game more appealing to newer players in order to recover the population.
We need a new freaking starting campaign for new players that summarizes all the events that has happened, or create some sort of big independent plot that is connected with the starting quest that has nothing to do with previous expansions. So either you have like a whole separate plot that you try to build in, making everything before sort of irrelevant, kind of like a World of Warcraft Reborn or something, or you find a way to summarize everything in some sort of maybe starting quest that has to do with the Bronze Dragonflight, where you are somewhere, you get like some background, maybe you are like a priest that left his church or something, and the Bronze Dragonflight needs your help and stuff or something, right? And then they lead you through all the events that are like happening, right? In like some sort of extra time walking campaign where there's only the 2-3 main quests of each expansion or something, and then you're at the end, and then you level 40-50, and then you get like really let into the world or something. I think that would make sense, or like a whole independent plot that has nothing to do with the current events. However, that is then confusing if those people get into the time walking campaign, so maybe the summarized short version of all as a starting quest, like I think that would be maybe better.
I just made a whole video on this subject recently, but right now, in a nutshell, the early game of World of Warcraft sucks, and it needs a major overhaul if Blizzard wants to addict new gamers. Fun fact, I've even been watching videos recently on YouTube of people trying World of Warcraft for the first time, playing level 1 characters and going through the experience, and a lot of the criticisms that I brought up in that new player experience video I just mentioned, they're bringing up. So Blizzard, you really need to overhaul the new player experience. Number 3, they need to continue to operate as a company without any scandals or PR disasters. There's a lot of players out there, they don't care about the company politics. They don't care about what's going on behind the scenes. It means nothing to them, right? They just want to play a good game. They don't care who makes it. They're just a simple consumer, but there's a lot of people out there who, if Blizzard does not align to their values and their beliefs, they're not going to support the company.
That's true.
Hey, that makes perfect sense, and so Blizzard needs to just continue to operate, no scandals, no PR disasters, and really continue with their community interaction. That would be fantastic. And finally, number 4, Blizzard needs to continue to poll, take feedback, and really learn their audience. They need to know their audience, know what they want to see, what they want to experience out of the...
I want to see Blizzard do Q&A streams and stuff. Like, that would be nice if they sometimes come on Twitch or so, and they actually let the community ask them questions, and then the questions or wishes that are being asked, they actually implement them. I think this would be nice if there was like this kind of closer connection. I know they can't like answer every question or go for every feedback, but at least if they pick some out of chat or so, like randomly maybe, I think that would be also nice.
The game. Blizzard needs to make a game based on the audience that they have and not who they think that they have. And this is very important. And I think for the past few expansions, Blizzard has been making a game for the audience they think they had, as opposed to an audience that they actually had. If they were making a game for an audience that they, objectively, honestly had, we probably wouldn't have seen Sylvanas being this main character so many expansions in a row.
Yeah.
Mary Sue, I'm not even going to get into that. The point is, make a product for your audience, okay? Right. So if Blizzard can do this, if Blizzard can stay on the ball, if they can continue to make good content, how many expansions does this game have left in it? Well, assuming that each new expansion is good or great in terms of its reviews, I would say that WoW could, in my opinion, my personal opinion, I think WoW could possibly have 3 to 4 more expansions left in it before the game just goes officially into kind of,
I think 3
not
expansions.
dead, but it's just no one really plays it
3
anymore.
expansions,
If that makes
then
sense.
Warcraft 4, and
However,
then World of Warcraft
if
2.
WoW does suffer in the later phases of Dragonflight, which could happen, or the next expansion is garbage and the next one is garbage, like all the effort was put into Dragonflight and everything that continues after that is subpar, I think WoW will probably only have 1 to 2 expansions left in it before.
What they would do like best, I think the best course of action, like what they should do is give us 3 more expansions, make them come out each 1 to 1.5 years or something. You can even, okay, 2 years may be too long, but like more than a year, right? And in 1 year, latest 2 years, they start the development of Warcraft 4 with a whole new plot that has nothing to do with now. And while Warcraft 4 comes out, we get at least 1 or 2 more expansions of World of Warcraft. And then, during this period, they announced that they are working on a World of Warcraft 2 with new technologies, new engine, this and that. And it is based on Warcraft 4. And while they are working on that or something, there's a Warcraft 4 expansion coming out 2 years after the release of the game or something like that. And then it's officially released. Because they're gonna need like 3-4 years or so to make a World of Warcraft 2, right? So if they start doing this like, let's say 1 year after they bring out Warcraft 4, and they start developing it, and then 1 year later, during like 1/3 of the development process, they actually release a Warcraft 4 expansion. And then they have 2 more years to also consider what happens in the Warcraft 4 expansion and add this to World of Warcraft 2. I think this would be a good plan for Blizzard. And by the way, guys, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. But yeah, let's see what they're gonna do. But
before people just get bored,
I hope they do
and
something.
move on. Now, that's just my opinion, mine. So what I did is I went and ran a poll over on our community tab here on this YouTube channel, and I asked the question, how many expansions do you think World of Warcraft has left in it? And I was very surprised. Over 12,000 people voted, and it was pretty even.
5 plus?
22% voted for 1 to 2, 3 to 4 was 19% of the vote, 5 plus was 33% of the vote.
Think
and
about
of course,
the
you
time
got to show
it
me the results,
takes.
people. And the comment section, if you
1 or
go
2
and check
years
it out
per
on this channel,
expansion.
it is just strewn with people saying that the game is probably just going to keep on going. Like, it probably more than, like, we're talking like 6 plus, 10 expansions, whatever. The game's just going to keep going forever. It's going to be like Skyrim, man, with the constant re-releases. Maybe Blizzard is even taking a note from Todd Howard and Bethesda. At least this guy certainly thinks so. Check this guy out. He says, I can't wait for classic vanilla WoW to come out. That is Mr. Inmate Kieran 6020. He says he can't wait for classic vanilla WoW.
Maybe
now,
he's not wrong.
Personally, I'm more excited for classic vanilla WoW. Okay, but I guess to each their own. All right, you know, we all know that classic vanilla WoW is going to be far superior to classic vanilla WoW. I mean, come on, guys, right? We can all agree with that. But on a more serious note, where could Blizzard go with World of Warcraft in the future? Okay, sure. Blizzard's going to make 6 more expansions. But what are they going to do in those 6 expansions? Are we just going to go back to Durotar and farm more cactus apples? Well, here's a few ideas just off the top of my head, and I'm sure a lot of people will leave their ideas in the comment section below. But first of all, we could explore the Void Lords further and what they're up to way out in space. These guys have been teased, but we haven't touched them yet, really. We have Sargeras and Illidan's storyline. It's technically not concluded, so we could see a return of both of these characters after their disappearance at the end of Legion. We could also get another world revamp expansion, like in Cataclysm, which is actually what a lot of people are suspecting will be the next WoW expansion after Dragonflight. And that's just due to some hints from Blizzard developers in the form of tweets over on Twitter. Queen Azshara, we could see the return of her, maybe Naga, playable race, I don't know. The old gods of Azeroth could come back, very similar to Dragonflight's storyline. N'Zoth comes back, and then he's just awakening the old gods.
That would be actually one of my most favorite expansions, if it could be focused mainly on the old gods and them coming back and stuff. Or maybe like one had a son or something, if that's possible, and he's now the main villain of like an expansion or something. That would be actually really nice, because I think this with the old gods is also a bit of a more simple plot, right? Like, you can compare this to the story of Dragonflight. It's not too complex. A lot of us already know the old gods or what they are, sort of, right? So I think it's more easy to also understand it, even for like new players. Like, you can describe them as those more dark entities that are close to the Void. Give like maybe a short description of what the Void is to new players. I think, yeah, something about old gods or about one of them taking like the main role of this, I think this could also lead to a good expansion.
Just awakening the old gods one at a time, and each one has their own
Is
unique
that too
raid.
complex?
There's still a possibility of an island expansion with player ships, which this is probably never going to happen, but people have wanted this for forever.
Yeah.
We did get a discount version of it in Warlords of Draenor. It was very poorly received if you weren't there. There's a fully dedicated Emerald Dream expansion that could be in the works, or most importantly, the one expansion that we've been asking for years. We can finally have an expansion all about locating Wu Ping, who mysteriously disappeared from Stormwind years ago during the events of the Cataclysm. Do you think that I forgot, Blizzard? Do you think that we forgot? Because we sure as heck didn't. That's right. Or if Blizzard wants to be really cool, they could continue the storyline of Gunther Arcanus from classic WoW. You know, the undead on the island in Tirisfal
He becomes
Glades
powerful
and like what's it
and
called,
evil,
Stillwater Lake or something? Whatever. You recruit him in classic WoW, and his whole purpose, his whole quest line is you're recruiting him and bringing him to the Undercity, because what he's going to do is he's going to teach necromancy to the Forsaken and to the Horde. This storyline was never once expanded upon in all these years of World of Warcraft.
Fun.
I am still salty about it all these years later, because I remember.
Yeah, I remember this too. I think one of my greatest starting experience was actually like with the Forsaken. I actually love leveling up Forsaken and doing like the more vanilla sort of experience, not like the BFA starting questline, but the one where we are raised at the graveyard. Because I think the Forsaken, they start like this really fun, those first quests and stuff. They're interesting. Yeah, I feel like there are definitely some potential also for like some side characters to take a more major role, and they return kind of like OP, or they have like more of a purpose. But let's see what they're gonna do.
I remember reading this quest text back in 2005, and I was like, oh wow, necromancers are coming, man, they're coming. Never happened.
Please.
The point is, there's a lot of possibilities still for World of Warcraft expansions in the future. So I'm sure that so long as people keep playing, Blizzard's going to keep pumping out the expansions. I think maybe there's only going to be 2 to 3 left before really the game just kind of dies out completely. But I don't know, 2, 3, 20?
That's still a lot to
Guess we'll have to see. But man, do I really want a Necromancer expansion before this game dies out. I mean, Death Knights and Necromancers, man, they're all that I've ever wanted in this game since I played Warcraft 3 for the first time all those years ago. We got the Death Knights, now we just need the Necromancers. When Blizzard does that,
ranged caster version,
I can finally die happy, and I can quit this soul-crushing game. Alright guys, well if you're curious about how the current expansion in World of Warcraft is doing, if you're not playing it right now, if you want like a quick little review of it, be sure to check out this video on your screen right now, because in it I talk about the things that people are loving the most about Dragonflight, and how Blizzard has hopefully turned over a new leaf and is breathing new life into World of Warcraft. I also have videos criticizing Dragonflight. We got all sorts of stuff here on this channel, so if you like the video, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys with my next video.
Oh, wow. But yeah, I agree with Nixxiom here with the 3 or 4 expansions, because we have to consider also the time it takes to make an expansion. Minimum 1 year, most likely 2 years per expansion, right? And if they don't make or at least start World of Warcraft 2 in the next 5 or 6 years with the development, like what they want to do, they want to milk out World of Warcraft for eternity, and it gets like even like the engine, all that kind of stuff. Like, they can't completely change individual parts of the game and not break it, if you get what I mean. Like, they can't just remove the old engine, put a new engine. Like, you probably from a technological point of view, you can never make World of Warcraft in a World of Warcraft 2 by adding like more effective, like suddenly like very high quality water reflections. Your combat, like your attacks are suddenly so fluent and modern. Like the models, you no longer have those super muscular looking humans, but they become more like slim and stuff. You have like more hair details, everything, like you see scars more clear. I don't think they can rework the game in the next 5-6 years so much to fit like modern standards that will be modern in like 5 years. So the best thing to do is to start working in a couple of years on a World of Warcraft 2, but make before that a Warcraft 4 with an independent plot that they can use for World of Warcraft 2. I think this can work. A long time skip, 40-50 years at least. Then we have gotten rid of the old characters. We can add like some new characters that are being introduced in Warcraft 4 that we get attached to from playing Warcraft 4, right? Like a new sort of Arthur's character, but maybe he doesn't turn into a Death Knight, but maybe he gets corrupted by Sargeras or some demon or something and becomes some sort of demon knight or something. And he was like a good guy before. Like there are multiple ways to come with something. Or maybe someone that's like from the Horde. He's a good character and then he wants to rebel against the humans or something. Like there are tons of ways they can go about a cool plot, right? For like Warcraft 4. Or maybe it has to do with the Void. Like we had like a lot of like necromancy and stuff in Warcraft 3. Maybe in Warcraft 4 it can be about the Void, about the Fel, and then from this we get World of Warcraft 2. But yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. How many more expansions can World of Warcraft bring? I'm saying it's 3, at most 4. But I believe it's about time for Warcraft 4 because even their strategy games have been really fun. Like I've been enjoying from Blizzard StarCraft and Warcraft. And it's actually sad that they discontinued it. And we only got like a Warcraft 3 remastered instead of a Warcraft 4. What actually sucks. So yeah, let's hope they actually start one soon. And yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. I will see you guys next time.